Folks, we're out here at Faville Grove Sanctuary today, last day of March. We'll just let people get settled in a little bit. I thought we'd listen here. You can hear some chorus frogs. We're up at the kettle pond. So we can just listen to the sounds a little bit. There's a cardinal in the distance, red-winged blackbird. Can probably see all the geese out on the pond over there. I'm standing right here next to the general, which is just a massive bur oak tree. See its limbs right there. I'm trying to get out of the wind a little bit, and this is a good tree to do it. Take you around it. It's 14.5 feet, I think, in circumference. Pretty big tree. Probably one of the, if not the biggest tree in the sanctuary. So I'm just going to give an update today on what we're up to at Faville Grove, what's been going on, and what we're looking forward to. I'm Drew Harry. I'm the land steward at Faville Grove Sanctuary. Been here for just over 5 years now. So Faville Grove is just north of Lake Mills. Obviously we welcome the public right now to come and visit. It's quite beautiful out here. With that being said, maintain your social distancing and just be aware of other people and how you're interacting with the wildlife. Don't want to get too close, obviously. So like I said, we're up here at the kettle pond. And there have been a good number of waterfowl out here. You can see this is a depression that was formed as the glaciers retreated. A chunk of ice sat in here, and this rim formed around the whole pond and made this depression. So it's a pretty cool feature. And this is it's an isolated watershed here. And almost all of it is now protected by Madison Audubon. So there are still some farm fields around, and they're going to be restored to prairie. So it'll be interesting to see how this pond changes as restoration continues in the surrounding landscape. Looks like we got a red-tailed hawk over in the distance there. So I'll just give you a quick overview of what we've been up to. I'm right next to an area where we've been cutting and chainsawing, and that has a benefit for grassland birds. It has a lot of different benefits. A lot of the trees in there were what we call kind of junk trees, and not like the nice bur oak that's behind me. So I think one of the best ways to think about this is just to give you a before and after picture. So I'll try to do that right here. So here is our before. Just printed out a picture of that. That's in winter. And here you can see all the junk. It's pretty dark. A lot of buckthorn and honeysuckle, box elder, mulberry, all sorts of stuff. And now here is your after. So you can almost see to the pines over in the distance there. You can see that little white outhouse there, which you couldn't see before. I'll do that again. Oh. So here's the before. That's pretty cool. You can see then too, just take a walk over here. You can see we've got a lot of firewood that's left to pick up. And then there are a lot of different trees that are still remaining here. So we do have a little scattering of bur oaks right here. those are some younger trees, and hopefully they'll sprawl out into the characteristic bur oak open savanna trees. You can see here we've girdled the tree. So this is, it'll cut off the xylem and phloem and cut off the nutrient flow to the tree. And then the tree will eventually die. It's growing next to a bur oak right here. So this tree, this elm, will die and make room for that bur oak. You can also see down here, we've left some trees in the water, in the pond. So that's good habitat for frogs and minnows, turtles especially, and birds. I'm sure you might see a kingfisher on there this summer yet. All sorts of different wildlife that can help support that. So the other thing is with those standing dead trees is it's good cavity nesting for woodpeckers and all sorts of other wildlife, owls. So you can see over here, here's a dead tree with a nice cavity in it. So that's really nice habitat for woodpeckers, and these dead trees, they can forage through them. As the bark peels off, they'll become more and more productive. So that's a really nice feature, and we've been cognizant of leaving some trees so that there is habitat for woodpeckers and such. So you can take a quick little jaunt back here. Just want to show you some of the tools that we work with, sort of how we go about restoring an area like that. So obviously you have the chainsaw. With this particular area, I went through there at first with a brush cutter, cleared out all the honeysuckle and buckthorn, treated it with herbicide, so that'll kill it and it hopefully won't come back. There's definitely a seed bank, so we'll have to manage that, but that kills it. So I went through there with the brush cutter and then did a whole second pass with the chainsaw. So kind of start around the edges and work your way in, and we're creating burn piles all the while. So you can see, obviously, got my chainsaw, my chaps, helmet. This is a McLeod rake. So this is helpful for stirring the piles. Piles are a big part of how we go day to day. And once you get a pile going, you can throw green box elder and green trees onto it, and it'll burn right up. And once you get, this nice pile going, you'll have coals. And so you can just take, you can see on, here's an old pile here. It's no longer burning. But you can then take a big shovel, move those coals to where you're working next, say over there or something, and then you can throw some dry kindling on there and you can get the fire going, get it started. And that's sort of how we worked through this area, just pile by pile, tree by tree, sort of day by day. So you can still hear those chorus frogs on the pond. Been hearing spring peepers over there in the evening. So right now, it is prescribed fire season. So we're looking at Helga's prairie here. It's about an 8 or 9 acre prairie. And this prairie it's flammable and it's ready to burn. So we're still trying to get burns in if we can. Obviously, with a lot of the restrictions, it can be difficult, but that's just something we'll have to deal with, and hopefully we can get some stuff burned. When we're doing a prescribed burn, we look for particular humidity levels, and you want nice sunshine so everything dries out. And then one of the biggest things is the wind direction and speed. Can't be too windy. If it's light winds, those tend to be variable, so that's tough to burn. So you need the right wind speed and direction matters, because you don't want to have a fire running into something where you don't want it to go, such as, you know, a road or something where you're pouring smoke onto the road. So we're very aware of that and take good care of doing our prescribed burns. And we look for volunteers for that. Obviously, we're trying to keep volunteers at a minimum right now, but we'll just have to see about that going forward. So I also wanted to talk about just some of the different wildlife that we're seeing right now. Obviously, as I said, on the kettle pond, we've got all of the Canada geese. They're setting up territories, they've been fighting. And we're looking out at the sphagnum mat here. So that's actually a floating bog type habitat. Very low nutrients. You can see some of the reddish areas, that's leatherleaf. And then a lot of the shrubs out there, almost all the shrubs are poison sumac. So that's a nice native species. It grows in bogs. And it's only in these real inaccessible wetland areas. There have been lots of ring-necked ducks out here. Also hooded mergansers. And then on some of the other ponds in the areas, we've been seeing ruddy ducks, northern shovelers, obviously mallards and wood ducks. Lots of wood ducks out here, and buffleheads. Some blue-winged teal we have seen too, and what else? Lots of sandhill cranes, obviously, too. As far as songbirds, we've had song sparrows, bluebirds, red-winged blackbirds, meadowlarks. So spring is well underway, and we're starting to see it every day here. And then obviously we do have the spring peepers and the chorus frogs. I did hear a leopard frog about a week ago, so that was interesting out here on the kettle pond. So lots of activity out here. We invite you to come out, obviously with your safety in mind, but it would be great if you could make it out here. Two of the best areas to take a hike are probably just down Prairie Lane, right off of G. And you can check out the Madison Audubon website for places you can park and hike. So either down Prairie Lane or off of 89 at Buddy's, there's a nice little trail. And we encourage you to go off trail and check out all the different wildlife that's out here and everything there is to see. There's a lot going on and tons of wildlife coming back. It's a really cool time to be out here. So, and it's good for people's mental health and your physical health, obviously. So I encourage you to come out here and support Madison Audubon. Yeah. So that's about it for me. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you around.